Why should they put you in the seat of PNP president with such a slim margin in your constituency?
Well, since you were talking about cash pot earlier, it's a 32 and a cash pot a goal.
Oh, yes. La, 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 la. Yes.
Sizzling every day.
Nation 190 FM giving you everything you want and everything in between. Good afternoon to everybody that's locked and loaded today. I gotta tell you, I've not been hoarse in a long time, Calico. And I'm actually finding it. I felt like a Gladys Knight without the pips today. And I gotta tell you, really excited. If you're just tuning in, thank you so much for making the smart choice and the smart switch and keeping your Fluffy Diva and DJ Calico in the mix. It is an Island Tuesday and I have an island girl on my station this afternoon. She grew up in Jamaica, born and raised, you know what I mean? Coming from humble beginnings with her father and her mother. And I gotta tell you, she has risen among the political ranks in Jamaica. And right now she is vying for the top spot, the top position as the next leader, the next president of the People's National Party. She is the member of parliament for Southeast St. Anne. Her name is Lisa Rene Hanna, and she's my very special guest this afternoon. Hello, Lisa. Good afternoon. Welcome to Miss Kitty Live. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to be here.
Very well.
Have a really lively vibe that kind of boosts up our room.
I gotta tell you, no, Lisa, you see nowadays when you're healthy and strong, my girl, you have to just live out as a father.
It's true, but sometimes if you close your eyes, you think it's Mitzi with us here listening to.
I gotta tell you, we set trends around here. We gotta do that. Absolutely. How are you doing? How are you managing?
I'm good. I'm an early riser, as you know, so I've been awake since 2.
Oh, wow. I've been awake since 6 and I'm giddy right now. I'm not an early riser. I don't hard get up so early, none at all, except for a lot of money.
I know. But I'm good.
Yeah.
Good. Work is good. Going around the island is really good because I love meeting all of the comrades and just Jamaican people on the whole.
Nice.
And Southeast is good. We're anchoring it. We're settling it down. It's hard to believe that the election was just, a little over a month ago.
Yes.
But, things are working out, and I'm excited about this new journey that I'm on.
Wonderful. And in terms of this new journey, I know that the dynamics would have changed because customarily, you would have been in my studio, but because
Correct.
of COVID-19, and the protocols, we have to definitely be extra careful. How have you managed to work with the new normal with COVID-19, interacting with the delegates, interacting with the public? How have you managed to maneuver all of that now that you're on this presidential journey?
Well, it's very difficult because I'm a tactile person.
Mm-hmm.
I like to feel and be among people. The social distance, just for my personality, is difficult. It's
Mm-hmm.
awkward. And it's been difficult to try and even get accustomed to realizing that children don't have the same kind of experience on their first day of school.
Yes.
People want to come and run and hug you. And you get to a point where wearing the mask, even sometimes I can't even breathe in the mask.
Yes.
You kind of have to walk up and take a breath and come back. But it's important that we stick to the protocols. And what we do is if we're having meetings, we stick with the protocols with people being 6 feet apart. We don't, we have our temperature checks. We have our alcohol if I'm walking in a community. I just ask God to protect me and protect everybody that is there, because at this rate, you really just have to realize that it's something that you're going to be living with.
Yes. And we just have to do so as best we can. And as I said, and invoke God, because, at this point in time, you do all that is humanly possible. And then you just say, God, please take charge and do the rest, right? Right. So you mentioned, that the election just went, and I can't believe it myself. It was just on September 3. Mm-hmm. And, I want to go back to that particular night, because it was a very pivotal night for Jamaica and for the People's National Party and also yourself. Now, your seat is normally considered a PNP safe seat, but that night it was rattled by a virtual newcomer who cut your safe margin significantly. Now, some may ask, Lisa, that if you could have barely held on to that seat as the MP, because on that night it was 14, when there was the magisterial recount, it came up to 32. Why should they put you in the seat of PNP president with such a slim margin in your constituency?
Well, since you were talking about cash pot earlier, it's a 32 and a cash pot a goal.
Oh, yes. La, 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 la. Yes.
But seriously, leaders have gone through difficult times in their careers. P.J. Patterson, for instance, lost his seat. Norman Manley lost his at one point. Michael Manley won by a very slim majority once. I think it was under 100, and so did Andrew Holness, if you want to broaden the scope. I've been winning that seat for the last 3 terms in the thousands.
Mm-hmm.
And the swing actually took out the only 2 PNP MPs that are on the North Coast now are myself in Southeast St. Anne and Central St. Mary with my colleague, Dr. Marie Sky. But we're still here.
Yes.
And so it is a testimony that we are still here, because in my seat, for instance, it was the comrades never came out for a host of reasons. And I've gone through and listened and found out many of them are COVID issues.
Mm-hmm.
Some are other issues, and
such as what?
Like that. But
like what?
It was, for instance, balancing people's immediate needs with long-term needs. So, for example, I might have thought that fixing the road alone was important,
mm-hmm.
or doing a multi-purpose court, and that was one issue. But COVID had ravaged people's lives, and people were not working, and they just thought that maybe something else might have been helpful. Some people wanted to see me more.
Yes.
And because the constituency is so large, so it's not as if they voted for the JLP. The JLP normally gets that vote on most elections. So it's the PNP who did not come out, and every seat across the country, except for a couple, lost votes.
Yes, but what would you say it was the cause of the massive swing against your seat? What caused that?
Well, it was a massive swing against most seats. I mean, a lot of my colleagues, we've moved from 42 seats in the People's National Party when in 2011
yes.
to 14 seats. We have a situation where 140,000 persons and supporters and comrades did not come out to vote over time. And so it is not a swing only against me, it is a swing against the party. And
mm-hmm.
Delana Franklin is actually doing an appraisal report to identify what some of those causes are, and I would wait to see what some of those are. But I would also say that the loudest voice in this election were the apathetic voters, because if you have only 37% of your population voting in the government and participating in democracy, we have a serious problem. That, to me, is the bigger problem, because people across the country are not motivated to come out and vote, and we need to try and figure out what is it in our politics, what is it in our governance, why people are just saying, look, we can't bother.
Yes.
We just not want to come out. COVID or no COVID, I'm not interested.
Yes.
And our young people, we need to find out what it is, why they don't want to be interested, or across the board, the various groupings, they're just not interested. And we were never a country like that. We were always a country that was very activist. We were always a country that was very patriotic. We stood up for issues. And we need to identify where it is that we are going wrong.
You're lagging behind. In terms of the results, though, Lisa, were you shocked on the night of the election? And if anything, what did that marginal victory signal to you? And what was the biggest lesson you learned from that?
Every election is different. When I was sitting there watching my colleagues get taken out in the thousands, losing in the thousands across, coming from the West, coming across, I was disheartened. The biggest lesson it has taught for me, or I've learned, is that right now, our electors need more personal attention.
Yes.
They need listening more. They need us to be on the ground with them more. They need to feel less that it's a top-down approach and more of a bottom-up approach. And every single election that I've been in, and this is my 4th term, has been different.
Yes.
The electors are different. People are more vocal. Social media has made people more vocal.
I'm happy that you touched on social media, because there are some persons in some quarters who feel like a lot of MPs have now resorted to social media marketing and social media positioning and posturing. You leading the charge with a very robust social media campaign and not so much on the ground. And so it's as if a lot of members of parliament are now seen as social media MPs MPs and not real MPs. What do you say to that?
I can't speak for any other MP. I can only speak for myself. I was one of the first persons to embrace social media, even when I was the Minister of Youth and Culture. But you have to balance that, and I balance that. What I think happens with social media is that if I do a multipurpose court, which I've done in Pedro, then somebody from Monica then want to we can't get one too.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens with the social media is that it's a double-edged sword, because unless you have the unlimited resources to be able to do everything that persons want, if you fix a road in 9 Mile that way, then, what happened to our road in the local areas? So you have real issues that social media can I would say not help, but
yes.
Then you also have good issues where it can help, because you can connect with your electors even more. They can reach out to you, some who are overseas, they can ask you questions.
Yes.
And I think the electorate also needs to recognize that there are urban areas and rural constituencies, and the rural areas are very, very different. So you have to balance the on the ground, face-to-face, pressing of the flesh with the social media. Social media can probably work better maybe in urban areas. I don't know. I've never been an urban MP. But I would say to a lot of the new persons coming in, embracing it, that don't use social media alone as the only way that you are going to represent people.
All right, hold that thought. We're talking to Lisa Hanna this afternoon, Member of Parliament for Southeast St. Anne and the People's National Party presidential aspirant. This is Nationwide 90 FM on an Island Tuesday.
Your fluffy diva, Miss Kitty. The hottest in the game. Miss Kitty on your perfect afternoon show. Miss Kitty Live.
29 degrees Celsius in the city of Kingston. Good afternoon to everyone locked and loaded. Thank you so much for making the smart choice and the smart switch, and always keeping your fluffy diva, Miss Kitty, in the mix. DJ Calico is here with me, going on till 5 o'clock. It is Island Tuesday. And of course, we say good afternoon to all our visitors to our beautiful island, Jamaica, land we love, the land of good, wood, and water. And please do remember to insert your commas, okay? Nationwide 90 FM. Anyway, you're there. I'm there with you. All you have to do is log on, listen in, and do remember to spread the word. The hour between 4 and 5 is brought to you by Digicel Shake to Win. Just say shake to win with Digicel. We're going hard all day, every day. My very special guest this afternoon is Lisa Hanna. She is the Member of Parliament for Southeast St. Anne and the People's National Party presidential aspirant. And she's my guest here, and she's talking to us about her seat, the marginal victory that she had. But she says that, she is resilient, she is tenacious, she has managed to hold the reins, and that is most important. Miss Hanna, you're still there?
I'm still here. You don't hear me bust out a big dirty laugh on your show when you talk about comma.
Oh, you're up! No, I don't want to call my name. Therefore, put in the comma to the broadcasting committee. Because they mix up bad.
You love the mix up too.
No, man. I'm as a communicator, I have to mix the part, right? But
I know. By the way, I like the first picture that you want to choose for your graduation picture.
Oh, the first one. Thank you.
First one make you look innocent, bad.
I am. I'm always innocent. That is what it is. But thank you so much. Thank you so very much for your kind contribution. I think that, Twitter, I think number 1 is leading on Twitter, number 2 is leading on Instagram, or number 1. But to
number 2 that them like.
I think so too, right? But thank you so much, Lisa, for that kind compliment. I'm still undecided, but I'm going to look a little deeper and see.
The next one.
Yeah, no, I have to submit at a certain time. You understand? And that is just gonna cause more problems, right? Because to Paul Bryan from Bryan Photo Studios. But Lisa, in all seriousness, back to the matter at hand, because the PNP at this time is a fractured and divided party due to the many internal races and wars which would have been fought over the years. Talk to us about how you, as president, if you are elected president, how will you seek to mend those fences and regain the trust of the people of the party and of Jamaica?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, and I'm glad you asked it that way, because trust is important. No one wants to vote for or have a part of their lives or have anyone lead them that they cannot trust.
Yeah.
And so what is happening now, and you're right, the internal conflicts and the internal, races in terms of leadership races, etc. And I've been a part of all the leadership races, from the president to the vice president to by-elections. And it does take a toll. It takes a toll on the resilience of people, and it takes a toll on the feelings of people. And what has happened is no one has taken really the time to take a step back and to find out how we're going to heal.
Yeah.
And healing is important in humanity and in human connections, because you can't have political relations unless you have social relationships. And that starts from the bottom all the way to the top. So for me, I've been reaching out, I've been listening more than anything else, and I've heard comrades across the country in every single parish that I've been to speak about wanting to just put down the battles, work with each other, stop being on social media and
tearing down each other.
Yeah. So for me, the first thing that has to happen is we have to have some truth and reconciliation.
Yes.
We have to say to each other, look, this is the truth of the situation, and we have to reconcile that this is where we are and this is how we're going to fix it. But in doing that, we also have to reconcile that as comrades, we have not been able to fix it. And so we need mediation and mediators perhaps to come in and sit with those comrades who said them just not talk to each other.
Yes.
Because that happens. And how to get them to the table and to not stop until we get the work done. The other issue, to be very honest with you, is that we need a robust disciplinary committee. Because persons have to understand that if you damage the brand for no reason at all, and if you continuously can hurt the brand and hurt the party publicly, then, there are sanctions. Because you can't, your mother will tell you, you have to have like a tough love sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And so we also have to realize that everybody has to be a part of the solution.
Yes.
Not because you never vote for me means that you can't work. No. All of us have a role and responsibility. And all of us can take the movement forward. So for me, it's really being that vessel, that relatable, compassionate, caring, listening leader.
Yes.
Not the person who is arrogant from the top down, but to say, yo, I'm in the streets with you. And they know. One thing that the PNP will tell you about Lisa Hanna is that if you have to scale the fence, she's going to scale it with you.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to walk on the ground barefoot, she's going to go there with you. So I know they see me as a ground leader and a ground general. I'm not the girl who is going to run the PNP from in an office.
Right. But however, and it's funny that you say that, because still some of the, and obviously the presidential race, the position of president rests with the delegates. And over the years, though, there has been some dissension in your own constituency among your councillors. And of course, Lydia Richards has come out, unequivocally to say that, there was the problem, there are issues. And she has also now supported Mark Golding publicly as the better candidate for the PNP. So on the face of it, there seems to be a problem in terms of unifying the councillors in your constituency. And so it begs the question, if you can't unify or you're having an issue unifying the councillors in your constituency, how competent are you therefore to unify the PNP at large?
Well, I think you also need to look at the construct a different way, because I've not tried to even disassociate myself from my councillors. All of us have a different leadership style.
Yes.
I came to that constituency, if you remember, because a sitting MP, a cabinet minister, former minister of tourism, entertainment and culture, Ambassador Luna Sambo, could not finish her first term because some of those same names that you called, unfortunately, did not allow her to finish her first term. I'm now in my fourth term, and I have Councillor Bell, who works very close to me. We have 3 other councillor candidates, because some of the names that you called as well have retired and are retiring because they're not running back. So I always like to look at the glass half full. I've managed to be there now for 4 terms, going into my 4th term, without any major fallout. And also, I run the region for 8 years consecutively when I was region chair and elected to run the region.
Yes.
So, every constituency, people will tell you that there are situations where everything is not perfect. But for some reason, mine gets amplified because the person who challenged me for the seat, which is Councillor Lydia Richards, has and always is very vocal. So it appears as if there is a constant problem. But
I know, but no, you're under the microscope. So then all these things are going to always, be called into questioning because of the position that you occupy. And so then if you weren't running for president, it wouldn't necessarily come up.
No, it has come up a lot because, at every instance when persons talk about sometimes my political leadership, they use the negative rather than try and research the data on the positive.
Well, talk to me a little bit about your leadership style, Lisa. How would you say, describe your leadership style and why is it Lisa's time to lead?
Well, my leadership style is one that is relatable. I'm a ground leader. I'm the leader that leads from the front and make sure that we have the right people in the right positions.
Yes.
And I will go out there and find those people to put in the right positions. I'm a listening leader, and I'm somebody who is a hard worker. So I work with my team. I'm not going to ask you to do something that I'm not prepared to do, and I'm a servant leader. I'm the right person for this time because we are living in unprecedented times where even our young people are having to maneuver virtual realities in school, in entertainment, and now we're going to have to pivot with our economy to make sure that we can actually grow the economy.
Mm-hmm.
And to somehow move people's lives, especially our poor people, especially people who are living in the margins, to make sure that they have a livable wage, that they can survive, and not only survive, but to prevail. My personality works for that because I am the person who is going to be pressing flesh. I am the person who is going to, no matter what, motivate, no matter what, come up with a solution, no matter what, say, I'm going to stay with you until we get this right. I have the energy, I have the time, and I have the courage to do it, and I have the passion to do it. And I don't really fear very much, and I'm not afraid of giants, as I said in the paper today. So I'm in this for the long haul, and I'm certainly going to go out there and make sure that Jamaica moves in the right direction. I want to become the president of the PNP and the opposition leader to take the People's National Party to Jamaica House so that we can improve the lives of all Jamaicans, especially the masses of our people.
Wonderful. Now, I got to tell you that, when, leaders, persons are aspiring for leadership roles, many times things always come out of the woodwork and there are always, the negative and the positive. And we have to juxtapose them and we have to weigh them and we have to balance them. And so some persons have accused you of voting against the PNP. They've accused you of anti-party activities, disrespect to the then party president, Portia Simpson Miller, and a breakdown of relationship with key comrades. How do you respond to those accusations or assertions?
Well, I think anybody who is in leadership will always be accused. And I've always said that I don't discuss internal party matters in the media, especially where those accusations are concerned. Comrade Portia Simpson Miller was somebody who I love and still love and respect. She was the one who brought me in to Southeast and she was the one who has mentored me. And there's nothing that I would do to really sully her name or to work against her. Never in life.
And the part about voting against PNP, is there any truth to that?
No.
Very well. Me don't want to let them know that too. Me ask the question, I said them people are bad. That's why I be like over here, suck at them bad out there.
And certainly persons who come up with those kinds of accusations, it is unnecessary. If we're going to build unity, nothing about them, nothing about accusations, especially when they're spurious against somebody's integrity, is not necessary, especially in the public space, because you tear people, and whether it's in politics, whether in academia, whether in private life, you need to live good with people. You just
Absolutely.
need to live good with people.
Talking about live good, Lisa, what would you say is Lisa Hanna's superpower? What do you have to bring to the table, to bring to the presidential seat of power of the People's National Party that nobody else has?
My courage. I'm not easily broken. And I am somebody that will stick it out until the end. If the ship is going down, if I can't save that ship, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure it sails.
Now, some people will say that you're just a pretty face and that stereotypical beauty queen has, hovered over your head like the sword of Damocles, and some refuse to let it go. They say that you're a pretty face with nothing much else behind it. But as a four-term MP, what would you say are some of your greatest achievements? Talk about what Lisa Hanna has accomplished over the years as a politician.
Well, my staying power, certainly for all the baptisms of fire that I've experienced, all of the insults, all of the different things that have been thrown my way, my tenacity and my resilience, I think, is a testimony to why I'm here. Certainly in terms of being a minister of youth and culture, we were able to improve our index in UNICEF for the way we treated children. We were able to do very, very well in culture. We trained thousands of young people through the NYS. And so interacting with our young people was something that we did, and we left excellent programs for young people and for children. In terms of how I've operated as a member of parliament, bringing industries into Southeast, infrastructure, health centers, roads, this last term and remember, I've been in opposition 3 out of my 4 terms.
Yes.
And so that is difficult in and of itself. So building infrastructure as well, we raised over $320 million for roads. That is not something that an opposition MP normally gets. And I have the largest geographical constituency. So I stay on the ground, I work. Education is a big part of what I do, and we help hundreds of persons. I was region chair for 8 years,
Yes.
consecutively leading the region to 2 victories at the parish council level in St. Anne, 1 in Trelawney. Took back 2 seats from the JLP in 2011. And, just working. I mean, I sometimes, when people ask me about things that are happening in other parts, I'm always in the trenches, and I don't come up for air. So I'm a real general on the ground.
And I asked Lisa because I want persons to, I believe in self-praise is a first recommendation, not in a narcissistic way, but in an empirical data way, to say these are the things that you have achieved so that people know the extent of your resume, because
I'm
sometimes...
not very good at speaking about myself. If you want to ask me again, I'm an officer of the party. So I'm the treasurer of the party. I've been the treasurer since 2018. So I've worked at all levels of the People's National Party. And every by-election, every election, Ms. Kitty. So I think this notion of winning Miss World 27 years ago, because it was 1993,
Yes.
I was 18. I'm now closer to 50 than, I'm 45, not so close to 50, but, is unfortunate, because you don't need to hold that over someone's head that they're not a good political or lawyer or farmer or teacher because of their physical attributes.
I'm happy you mentioned your age right now, 45. In the election that just went, in the People's National Party, age came up and was used as a dagger against some. Do you think your age gives you an advantage over the other person who is aspiring or vying also for the presidential position?
Yes, it does. Absolutely. It gives me more time. And certainly we're at the beginning of the election cycle. So by the next election, I think it's, from where I sit, I'm better able to be there for the long haul.
What galvanized your resolve to run for leadership this time around? And who are some of the persons with whom you first spoke? What did your husband say, Richard Lake? What did he say? And what did your son say about your decision to run for the presidential position?
Well, I spoke to the elders of the party and my colleagues. I spoke to my constituency. I spoke to friends because not because I was leading in the polls did it mean that it was an automatic decision, because this is an enduring movement. This is the best political party I feel in the Western Hemisphere, a party that has given people universal adult suffrage, stood up for serious rights in the world and really gave black Jamaicans dignity, poor people dignity, free education, and I could go on. But what I did, and in speaking to them, I had to be comfortable in my soul that I could do it for the long haul. In other words, this is not an easy position. It's not a prize. And from where we are in the PNP, it is going to require a lot of work. It's almost going to be 24-hour, 7 days a week work. That is what happens being an MP anyway. So now you're going to be taking on significant organizational activities, significant reaching out, rebuilding and modernizing the party and the secretariat, looking at our groups, setting new policies, holding the government accountable. And this is a big work.
Yes. It's a lot of work to take on. And that is why I asked, because I know that for a lot. Yes, your husband, what did he say?
My husband, Richard is great. Richard is my biggest supporter. If I fall backwards with my eyes closed, I know Richard will catch me. For Alex was a little bit more concerned because, as a he's almost 20 next year. He's a liberal. He's doing finance and history. He's very interested in politics. And I think he was just concerned because he has seen my political battles. And he has seen, just how hard I have fought. And I think he was just concerned as my son that, he just didn't want me to be in the line, in the firing line.
Yes.
Anymore. But he's supportive and he's excited. He just came home for a little bit from university. So he's coming out on the campaign trail after he comes out of quarantine. And he's good.
Good job.
I have a very, very supportive family. My sister, my mother are very, very supportive. They don't necessarily like the limelight. Richard worse. Alex, when them get to this age, them just don't really want to be up in the video light. But they're very, very supportive behind the scenes. Is there
anyone who you would have thought would have supported you or endorsed you for party president that has not? And is there anyone who has surprised you with their endorsement?
Well, no. I think the in terms of the non-support, I knew where that was going. But for the support, absolutely, there's 63 of the 97 PNP councillors that are supporting me. Some who supported the other side, for example, one of Mark Golding's councillors is supporting me, one of Peter Bunting's councillors are supporting me. Several councillors who supported other teams last year are supporting me. I have 10 out of the 14 MPs that have said to me that they're supporting me. So, I'm not out there, as I said in the paper this morning, trying to showcase in a I guess, obscene way that we're doing all of this different thing, because I'm running a ground campaign internally and meeting with the delegates face to face and doing that in a quiet, respectable way, especially given the COVID concerns.
Yes.
And because I've walked and been in all 63 seats in my political career, I know a lot of the players and comrades in there. So once I come, it's an easy dialogue. You're not going to have everybody supporting you immediately, and you will have to try and convince them. But I respect all comrades, and as I said to Mark, if he wins, he will have my support, and if I win, I would want him to work with me.
Yes. And would you reach out to him as well in a meaningful way to have him
Absolutely.
as an integral part of the party?
But Mark and I have sat together and had that discussion. So even at the signing of the Code of Conduct, we had that discussion as well, and we said that publicly. I've said that publicly.
Very well. Hold that thought because I have a clip that I'm going to play for you right after this break. We're talking to Lisa Hanna, People's National Party presidential aspirant, and my very special guest right here on Miss Kitty Live.